already in, so semifinals has indeed started. And oh, everyone working with the nature chromium today. All right, all right. Man, what am I missing here? It's obviously it's obviously not a _𝗍𝗫 because I think you checked it right. There's 30% additional damage on your techniques if your ally is the same typing of you. So it's gonna be a pigment inverter.
Most likely. I guess it's because it has Nature Torrent and Resin Trap as both options for damage dealing nature moves. And if you flip the nature typing, that should, I believe, if you do double damage to Fire Temps, you do double damage to Toxic Temps.
Oh, you know what? I believe these guys are saying it might be _𝗍𝗫. So maybe just for the plagues, because it has to be the same typing, and the only same typings would be 𝗬𝗵𝗵 and this 𝗬𝗫 here. So okay, just 30% overall. You know, that's more than Synergy Master. So 30% is a significant amount. Oh, I see. So of course, it's a nature and digital. So pairing it up with things like the hedging. But Scarsing catching wind of that strategy does immediately ban the hedging. Not too bad.
Yeah, I'm just double checking what _𝗍𝗫 does exactly. I want to make sure I don't make a mistake here.
Yeah, I read it. Yeah, I read it earlier. If your ally shares the same typing, your attacks will be doing 30% additional damage. So if you have a digital Temtem next to you, if you have a nature Temtem next to you, that is 30% additional damage. So not too bad. But all right, Scarsing represented what a lot of people consider not too much of a competitive bird. But hey, a lot of win coverage, you know, a lot of toxic Temtems in the meta. So Toucan does come in. And quite effective against the likes of that nature Tems in the chromium and the Kinu and the Volash. So not a bad opener, but something like this classic 𝗬𝗵𝗶 opener might be a bit too aggressive for that Toucan.
Potentially.
Oh, all right. In true 𝗬𝗵𝗶 fashion, does not care. He says, you know, this is a fire Temtem, but there's no fire techniques for at least 2 turns. So let's get some free damage while we can. And Kinu buff on that 𝗬𝗵𝗶 Volash. All right, I'm smelling the turn 1 madness buff perhaps. How can he dish out the damage? Maybe with a Volash of his own? Or, okay, I was thinking about that. You gotta do it what you gotta do. So a Volash does indeed get picked up. This is looking quite aggressive in that second turn.
So the ban on 𝗬𝗵𝗵 and the ban, now this being decided for a Scarsing guy, on the 𝗬𝗺𝗐. So getting rid of the 𝗬𝗺𝗐, interesting, because he has a lot of ways to deal with it. 2 Crystal Temps still available to pick up. Obviously, you have the 0B1 to also deal with it. So that is an interesting 𝗬𝗺𝗐 ban, perhaps wanting to pick up both Toxic Temps for the side of Scarsing guy. I'm not quite sure I follow the ban on the 𝗬𝗺𝗐.
Yeah, I guess just trying to preserve his Nidrasil, trying to preserve that 𝗂𝗵𝗶. Not too bad, because, you know, 𝗬𝗺𝗐 just hits like a truck. Those hypoxias, those tornadoes. Honestly, almost looking to one-shot things like Nidrasil and 𝗂𝗵𝗶. So I think that was a fine ban because, as we saw, Scarsing elected to pick up both of those toxic Temtems, so making that life a little bit easier. I don't think there's any true damage onto those toxic Temtems. Let's take a look. Yeah, nothing. Oh, the Volern, of course. Okay, the Volern is indeed there. And Blue, I'm impressed, dude. How is the Volern still around? I mean, 𝗬𝗵𝗵 would be the tamer to still make it work. It's still a great Temtem, just has a lot of weaknesses today. Or not today, but in the current patch.
Yeah, it just feels bad to be a Volern when everybody's running at least 2 electric Tems nowadays, or at least 1 electric Tem bare minimum, just because they're just so strong. Especially now the bigger roster, right? I mean, It's just, you know, it's fairly understandable why 𝗬𝗏 is currently taking hiding, but bear in mind his stat line is still fantastic. So we'll see if it eventually comes back. Crystal Spikes, though, in the meantime, follows through. We'll do some decent trading. We'll see who does the more damage, and it looks like by 5%, it looks like the 𝗏𝗏 on the side of Scarcity Guy will do more, but Heater as well, burning the 𝗏𝗏 initially, also helped with that trade going the way of Scarcity Guy.
Yeah, what a fantastic turn one, just really chipping away. You know, we were thinking Madness buff, but no, these guys wanted to go face, so back-to-back attacks. And yeah, even with that Qiinu buff, you know, the Heater doing so much, almost acting like a Qiinu buff in itself. They're protecting Scarsing's 𝗏𝗏 from taking too much damage with that 30% reduction, of course. So now Tornado is online. 𝗏𝗏𝗆's 𝗏𝗏 will be falling down to that Tornado. 𝗏𝗏𝗆 has to swap. Will it be the Qiinu here? Or is the 𝗬𝗏𝗆 a bit too much pressure for that Toucan to handle? He doesn't necessarily need the Toucan. The target is already on the board for the 𝗏𝗏𝗆. I mean, could use it for the Qiinu, but has double toxic for the Qiinu indeed. So maybe he has to just brunt the force of this 𝗬𝗏𝗆 attack, either Water Cannon or Aquatic Whirlwind. But 𝗏𝗏𝗆, oh, never mind. It does indeed want to save it for down the road and just brings the Temtem that can eat these water attacks significantly well.
Solid damage goes in the way. There might be perhaps a double 𝗏𝗏𝗆 trade, but one 𝗏𝗏𝗆 gets the jump on the other. So the scavenger buff will go through, first of all, for 𝗏𝗏𝗆, and unfortunately, the trade goes his way this time. Scarcity Guy, I'm not sure how big of a loss that is for him. He still does have options to play with, both Toxic Temps now on the field.
Yeah, we'll see. So beautiful stuff. 𝗏𝗏𝗆 getting the kill nice and early on Scarsing Sweatband 𝗏𝗏𝗆. Not too shabby. Let's see. I mean, early kill going in the favor of 𝗏𝗏𝗆. Let's see. So double trouble 𝗬𝗏𝗆 looking to hit the back line. There is no way. I mean, it does have a chamomile though. Chamomile is here, so it's gonna be adding those toxic ticks. But more importantly, you kind of want to gun down this 𝗏𝗏𝗆 too, just because the scavenger able to get the increases going. Let's see. So 𝗬𝗏𝗏 expecting the double toxic ink in that direction. Discarsing read it and attack the other spot here.
Swapping in, coming through, Qiinu and the 𝗬𝗏𝗏 and El Clasico versus the double toxic Temps. This is the moment you would want a 𝗬𝗏𝗏 on the field. The allergic spread obviously gonna apply toxic ticks onto the Qiinu. And worse comes to where is Qiinu now secured dead here. 𝗏𝗏𝗆, I wouldn't put it past him to sacrifice Qiinu right here to bolster 𝗬𝗏𝗏 even more.
Yeah, we'll see. As you said, 𝗬𝗏𝗏 is such a great Temtem into the current board of Scarsing Guy, both taking double damage. So hey, the little back line, and hey Blue, did you see this 𝗬𝗏10's name, Blue?
Plus that.
There we go. Scarsing representing the home team. Not really the home team, but hey, a little love in the household here. So let's see. I mean, that is an effective Temtem into the 𝗬𝗏𝗏. We have to find out, will this be an aerobic or an anaerobic? If it's an anaerobic, Scarsing's going to have a really tough time taking it all the way down. So we'll see. I mean, Funky likes to play aggressive. He likes to go fast. So usually he would play aerobic, but maybe in a Cipanku meta as we are in, maybe anaerobic might be the new wave to go.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now, Scarcity Guy will definitely get his Gambit back. And, ooh, what would be a bit... No. I was going to say maybe swapping the 𝗏𝗏𝗆 here, but no, that's way too insane. Sacrifice would be in vain, ironically enough, if the 𝗏𝗏𝗆 took way too many toxic attacks to the face. 𝗬𝗏𝗏 definitely going to sustain here. The question is if Scarcity Guy will preemptively double swap into... perhaps 0v1 and Tolkien, maybe? I wouldn't mind that, per se. It will, I think, be a good choice here, just to at least stop the 𝗬𝗏𝗏 from having a very safe position.
Yeah, and I Oh, no, it will be the Toucan. Just in case this is aerobic, might as well start getting those holds off, but the sacrifice. All right. I believe 𝗵𝗶𝗆 has identified his potential win con, and that win con will be the name Voldrin. So Windblade, that is easily an aerobic if I ever seen one. Yep.
That's a classic move that was replaced by Feather Gatling, but with this stamina issues, Windblade is back in business, baby.
Yeah, right. We haven't seen Windblade since people thought special attack aerobic aerobic was better. Windblade was better than Feather Gatling before people invested attack TVs on Voldrin. That was forever ago, man. That threw me back. A little Windblade action. All right, so hey, I mean, very strategic, very low stamina cost, so you might as well get a little throw the technique, get +1 speed, not too shabby. So +1 speed, of course, that's like half of the old school +1 speed, so only 25% increase. But 𝗬𝗏𝗃 coming on the board, a potential turbo choreography into hyperkinetic strike at +3 speed, effective into the neutral. So does Scarsing want to potentially read it into a Obi-Wan swap? Or is he just, man, 𝗬𝗏𝗃 so strong here too. I think 𝗵𝗶𝗆 in a really good position, either threatening out this Toucan if he wants to do some big wind damage on this aerobic bird. And I say big, but I don't mean too big. That is still +2 special defense on this Voldrin rather than -1 special defense, thanks to the Kinu and a sacrifice from the Kinu. So yeah, 𝗵𝗶𝗆 in game 1 looking quite strong. Let's see how Scarsing wants to turn things around.
𝗵𝗶𝗆 swapping out the 𝗬𝗏𝗃 right away, perhaps using it as a bait. 𝗬𝗵𝗆 will be coming in instead, and the Toolkit, not taking that risk, will be swapping out for the 𝗬𝗏𝗃. So once again, we are in a board state with the Voldrin reigns supreme, and the HKS comes through, strikes through. We'll see how much damage it does. It does 50%. It's actually 60% of Ninjastill's HP. Straight up, aerobic will continue bolstering it. Toxic Ink will do some decent damage on the 𝗬𝗵𝗆, but now the Voldrin doesn't have many options to operate on, as it is in fact out of stamina. I mean, it can Windblade, but +1 special defense any further will start to deteriorate your benefits from that sacrifice.
Yeah, with that said, however, on the current board of Scarsing, he doesn't have any big explosive wind damage, or rather special attack damage. So I think Voldrin can afford at least one more little Windblade, but in preparation for that, it looks like Toucan coming back out, getting that Tornado online. Now Fire Tornado's actually online, so beautiful swap in, eating the play quite nice. But I believe now he's trapped in, so no more switcheroo for the Toucan.
Absolutely, the trap in for the Toucan, and the water jet striking the 𝗬𝗵𝗆, but does Vortex. Actually, no, does Vortex as neutral on the Toucan, but because of that flying type, or wind type rather. But still, for the most part, the 𝗬𝗏𝗃 should be swapping to a 0B1, I feel, just to eat the HKS if it does fall through. No, he's gonna swap the Voldrin even. Gonna be coming in with that 𝗬𝗏𝗃, and the 𝗬𝗵𝗆 perhaps will be swapping out as well. First of all, the 𝗬𝗏𝗃 will be going through instead for the 0B1, as mentioned, to just have the most set up board here. But both are now trapped. Plus, what does 𝗵𝗆𝗆 have cooking?
Yeah, now it gives 𝗵𝗆𝗆 the option to bring in an effective Temtem. I mean, Vlash will be effective into the OB. But yeah, it looks like he does not care that Fire Tornado's online. Maybe he's calculated that Aquatic Whirlwind will go destructive power onto this Toucan. 69.6% remaining. If Aquatic Whirlwind kills the Toucan, a Crystal Spike will kill the Plus and Zaf OB1. So man, making things very straightforward for 𝗵𝗆𝗆. Usually part of the mind games is anticipating the swap, knowing what's coming in, what's coming out. But when everything's trapped, 𝗵𝗆𝗆 likes his positioning here. As we said, Aquatic Whirlwind ready to take out Toucan, and Crystal Spike ready to take out Obi-Wan. Man, 𝗵𝗆𝗆 maneuvered this so well. I think both of these Temtems are even faster than an OB Bush. I mean, it does depend on those TV spreads. But we're talking about the second fastest Temtem in the game, and then the fourth fastest Temtem in the game. So yeah, I'm pretty sure these Tems are going to be able to outspeed OB10. What can Scarsing do? I mean, you're just going to have to do 3 prio plays of yourself, Tornado and Bush, and pray for the best. But I believe 𝗵𝗶𝗆 has the slight edge or the significant edge.
Yeah, gotta go fast. Aquatic Whirlwind should one-shot the toolkit, and in fact it does. Now the question is, will 𝗏𝗏 have the same success here with the Crystal Spikes? We'll see if that follows through, and it gets close, but not quite there. 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶 will do devastating amount of damage on the 𝗂𝗏. I say devastating, but that's only 30%, so the trade is definitely skewed to the favor of 𝗵𝗶𝗆, and 𝗵𝗶𝗆 with a bolstered Voliran, with a bolstered 𝗏𝗏, has, ironically, a pretty classic team still alive and very good condition.
Well said. These are the classic of all classic Temtem, the 𝗏𝗏, and then the tried and true 𝗵𝗶𝗆 special, taking it down with this 𝗏𝗏. So one more Sea Dust takes it down for that OB10. But as you said, Blue, 𝗵𝗶𝗆 and this impressively buffed up Voliran, that is going to be all she wrote. Two toxic Temtems remaining without any special attack. And Voliran, full stamina, ready to pop off these guys. So 𝗧𝗏𝗀, we saw how much 1 HKS at the current speed did. 𝗧𝗏𝗀 is going to be falling to just 1 more HKS. And Scarsing, of course, seeing the bigger picture. 𝗵𝗶𝗆 winning game number 1. Man.
Ooh. He bans the 𝗂𝗏, actually, Scarsing guy, to make sure that the toolkit has no threats.
Alright, not a bad idea. And of course, 𝗵𝗶𝗆, it worked the first game, so does ban the Volphi one more time. So as you said, no 𝗂𝗏. Feeling a bit better about that. You still have to worry about... Actually, yeah, does Vortex is just neutral pressure because wind resists Earth, of course. So yeah, this Toucan just got a whole lot comfortable in this game number 2 with the 𝗂𝗏 ban. And maybe he doesn't rely on these toxic heavy Temtems now with 2 wind Temtems remaining. Or we'll see what he does with the secondary ban. But Toucan looking quite decent to open things up.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, interesting. Momo, Toolcan, and the instant Barnsey pickup counter here from 𝗵𝗶𝗆.
That does make some good sense. Of course, Scarsing does have 𝗏𝗏 to pressure out this Barnsey. But if 𝗵𝗆 wants to ban the 𝗏𝗏, then Volphi, or rather the Barnsey, gonna have a tough time. Of course, a little 𝗧𝗵𝗆 E-Storm from the OB10. Oh, but speaking of OB10, it looks like he's going down. But yeah, what we've seen so far, Heater seeming to be the competitive trait for this Toucan, getting that early minus 30% reduction on those turn 1 attacks. Of course, Hedgen is immune, so not going to be burned himself, but at least the Barnsey, those Hypoxia/Wind Bursts, might be connecting a bit less, might be connecting quite less on that Momo. But okay, 𝗵𝗆𝗆 with a very similar lineup. The only exception is that Barnsey. Oh, and the Hedgen. We didn't get to see the Hedgen last game.
Absolutely. Now, for the most part, Scarsing guy, with this Momo Toucan opening versus 𝗵𝗆𝗆 Barnsey engine, we'll see if he can take it to a game 3 here. As 𝗏𝗏𝗆 has been benched this time for that mix. Aside from that, there are not much differences on his end. 𝗵𝗆𝗆 though, no 𝗂𝗏 Barnsey in this time, and Hedgen as well.
Yeah, we'll see. As you said, big damage potential onto the Momo. Beta Burst going burr on that Momo. Let's see what Scarsing can swap into. He does have a couple backline Temtems, but alright, saving the Hedgen since it's so important to the entire team. Bringing out the Kinu and buffing up this Barnsey. Alright, Barnsey potential win condition for 𝗵𝗆𝗆. That's what he's saying here. Or just making it buff, of course. Just good value all around.
So just keeping the Barnsey sustained, but the mix will be swapped in, so a solid read here by Scarsing guy to deal with that Barnsey if it does stay in, and the Beta Burst absorbed by the mix. Wind Burst connecting on the Kinu, doing a lot of damage as well. And the trade goes away with Scarsing guy, especially the read. Turn 2 tempo definitely going his way.
Yeah, you know, that was such a great job. The hedging, look how good it looks. It's effective into 𝗏𝗏, it's effective into the mix, it's effective into the Nidusel. So don't try to get too much damage from that Windburst / Tornado turn 2. So that was a good swap in, and you get to buff up your Barnchy while you're at it. But now, Barnchy pressured out from this mixed Crystal Spike. Not 100% pressured out because of that Kinu buff. And Toucan, he only has a Tornado. I mean, Barnchy, not the most tankiest in the bunch, so maybe, just maybe, Crystal Spike plus the Windburst could do the deed, but not too likely. But the Barnchy will hit the back line, and hedging to maybe eat up this crystal pressure. Let's see, and whoa! Early sacrifice. Wowzers.
That is a big surprise. Understand the Fire Tornado was going to insta-give the Kinu, so might as well bite the bullet early. Crystal Spikes does a mere 12% damage. Windburst, though, not going to slouch. That's 21% to follow through. So the hedging does take about 33% damage in total, but that sacrifice, we'll see if that wasn't in vain.
Yeah, and needless to say, of course, getting some hold moves online. Hellfire online for this mix. 83% maybe out of range, but we'll see. I mean, swapping in this Volrin, you know, Funky hasn't really done any damage. I mean, he's got the setup. Kinu already down, hedging at +2/+2, Barnchy at +1, but Funky hasn't dished out the damage. Of course, we're only in turn 3, but still, you got to do a little damage here and there. Now you got a longer way to go. How is he dealing with this Toucan? I mean, it's an aerobic, so things like Noxious Bomb, maybe not a lot of attack investment with things like that Wind Blade on that Volrin. So man, Toucan looking like a big threat. Hands down the biggest threat for 𝗏𝗏 to deal with. If he takes down Toucan, he easily takes this game. But of course, harmful microwaves. Okay, just some solid neutral pressure.
Absolutely, Tornado following through on the Hejin, just doing a bit more damage. Noxious Bomb, as you mentioned, goes into the Toucan with no attack investments, though, only does a mere 15%, just doing a bit of chunking on the Toucan. Ice Surge, though, tries to all-in kill off the Hejin, but 15% stays alive. And I am surprised that Hellfire, I wouldn't be surprised, rather, if Hellfire was played here just to apply as much damage to the Hejin. Of course, it doesn't feel that great, especially when you sacrifice onto this Hejin.
Yeah, of course, remember, Fire Tornado just came online, so anything that mix swaps into will be taking huge damage. And if the mix wants to stay in, it will be taking big damage. The only exception here, if a 𝗍𝗵𝗶 could just do enough, but with +2 special defense, I don't think it will. And maybe gotta go fast is too fast. So we saw the harmful wave. Actually, no, Side Surge is 1 prio, but it did outspeed the Tornado. And Toucan on Dev's door, but the Hedge said trying to save it for the Nidusel and 𝗏𝗏 in the back line. So Barnchy coming through. Let's see what pans out. And taking some big damage. What a read from 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. That was beautiful.
Overexertion on the mix, though. Windblade gonna try and start setting up the Volrin, but yeah, the Barnchy is low, and the Windburst to follow through the kill, and in fact it does. And that read was perfect from 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Yeah, insane. He just crystal spiked into a Hedgen, anticipating the swap. That is exactly what 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 needed to bring back the tempo. Not exactly 100%, but that's a good kill. Barnchy was effective into the Momo. Now Funky has a little secondary problem in that undermine Momo potential. So, you know, undermine is a special attack. Volrin at -1 special attack. So undermine, even though it did get a decrease, or Stabmaster rather, did get a decrease, I believe it's still going to be packing quite the punch onto that bird. So, you know, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 might be looking kind of good. He has to save this Toucan for this exact Temtem on the board. So that's exactly why 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 taking the opportunity to bring in the Temtem that Toucan has to save himself for. Because I believe Toucan might have just overexerted. Or looking to overexert. Especially if he wanted to go for a Fire Tornado.
Yeah, absolutely. Several risks still could come across here for 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. It is a 5v3, theoretically speaking, and the Hejin is low. But do not underestimate potential threats on the field right now. Momo will be swapping it for the side of Scarcing Guy. He holds a great advantage, so no point in letting the mix go down. Crystal Dust actually going to do some decent damage. Noxious Bomb, I don't believe did enough damage to kill the Tulkan. In fact, it does! Correction there! That was 20% damage, securing the kill on the Tulkan. So perfect amount there for the side of Funky.
Yeah, it looks like I believe Toucan was just going for it. He wanted to overexert Fire Tornado to try to do some big damage onto 𝗏𝗏, but both of those techniques had the priority. Volar and Aerobic being at +1 speed, and then 𝗏𝗏 with the Wind Synergy being a 4 prio 1.75 multiplier onto that Toucan, so the good old 1-2 punch will do the deed. And now the game got a little bit easier in terms of having that Funky How 𝗏𝗏 being able to survive a whole lot longer. No direct pressure, but no madness buff just yet. So Scarsing bringing out his own 𝗏𝗏. Are these guys going for madness buff, or is he just going to try to get a kill on that Vulnerant spot? He kind of needs to threaten out this 𝗏𝗏 too though.
Funky does have the speed arrow, so if the trade does go, he does decide to trade, he will land his attack first on the 𝗏𝗏. But HKS is actually going to go down. We'll see how much damage that does. It goes straight for the Momo, actually. Interesting choice of action that burns all of Vulnerant's stamina. We'll see if that OXs. In fact, it OXs severely. Crystal Spikes to follow, and I don't think this is enough damage to kill it off, and unfortunately it is not. Crystal Spikes, the trade, onto Funky How. Doing so much damage, undermine the follow-throughs to execute the 𝗏𝗏, and that is the win condition dead for the side of Funky How. Only Volrend and Hedjin left in the back line to bring it home, and Hedjin has 4 attempts to kill.
Yeah, it looks like it will be GG. Scarsing playing this beautifully, just like Funky How did in game number 1. It looks like it was Scarsing time to shine there. Momo, even if it didn't kill 𝗏𝗏, it wouldn't mind his special defense, but Momo still with Stab Master, still with the stab alone on that undermine, looking good. However, Hedjin now most likely going first with that gotta go fast trait. Of course, that Vulnerant on Funky How's left side did overexert, so it's the only Temtem able to get off anything. Momo with a simple double edge, but it might be going down to this Hellfire, and yes it does. So 𝗏𝗏, can he do the deed? Crystal Spike. Oh, nice. This is a perfect opportunity to gun down the Vulnerant. I was just thinking, I mean, I guess he's not doing anything to the Hedjin. So, okay, fair enough. But wait a second. Letting this Hedjin live for a little bit longer. That's a Fire Tornado online.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sus moment, because now what do you want to put in? He puts in the mix, but if you Hellfire and then HKS the mix, or HKS the 𝗏𝗏, secure kill, and perhaps you secure a follow through. Hedjin, yes, it's at 15%, but it does have +2/+2. Does a C Spikes really kill it here? We'll have to see. This is the gamble that Funky is going for. We'll see where the HKS is going for. It will go for the 𝗏𝗏. We'll see if that kills nearly, but that's what the Hellfire is for. We'll see what the option is here for the side of Funky How. Vulnerant nearly OXs. Fire Tornado will be thrown down onto the mix most likely, and it will secure the kill, and 𝗏𝗏 just doesn't quite get there, and is about to heal straight back up as well. What a heartbreaker. The Vulnerant just not quite there. Will be executed, and the 𝗏𝗏 will be sustaining the full, but hang on, plus it OX'd actually.
Yeah,
but the initial should be able to get the toxic ticks off.
Yeah, that is right. A simple Toxic Ink will be more than enough. Of course, Hellfire Online, this is the Hail Mary play, 100%. Not enough. Not even 50% on that bulky Ninja Soul. So, Scarsing Guy not giving up so easy. Semifinals will be going indeed to a game number 3. So, fantastic. Scarsing on a roll. This is...
Ooh, Hedjin picked up here for the side of Funky How. 𝗂𝗏 is banned once again. Same bans. I think what's being overlooked, I believe, is the fact that Funky made that so close, and it took him 3 attempts to kill Tulkan. So, that's sort of a question mark you have to put on a scarcity guy, right? Like, how did it get that close? Should it get that close? Is there anything I should change, or should I try and follow through? Does Funky know what else, how to adjust, right? Because there's no game 4. This is all about understanding what you've learned from the previous game and the game you lost. So we'll have to see who adapts here first to the new environment. I mean, Scarcity really thinking about picking up that 𝗂𝗵𝗶 to just straight up stop the 𝗧𝗵𝗶, just so Funky doesn't get the opportunity to get that close again.
Yeah, it could, but that kind of leaves it quite susceptible to that 𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗴 opener. So just keeping what worked last game, and so will 𝗵𝗵𝗃. So if things go the exact same way as it did before, 𝗧𝗵𝗃 hits the back line, comes in. I believe it was a 𝗬𝗎 that comes in. So we'll see whoever wants to play it a little bit different. I mean, if it goes the same way it did in game 2, we know who the victor was there. So 𝗵𝗵𝗃 looking to do a couple things different. I'm trying to pinpoint the exact moment where things did not go his way. I just can't recall.
Wow. Fans of Valorant as well. 𝗵𝗵𝗃, how he brought it back in the previous round was because, again, that 𝗵𝗍 Valorant and 𝗧𝗵𝗃 were just devastating damage dealers. In fact, I just realized that Scarcity just banned the dynamic duo, which feels bad, man. But for the most part, we'll have to see what 𝗵𝗵𝗃 bans, because we obviously know that's probably a Sinner type Chromion, so no pigment damage to threaten Tulkan, which is unfortunate, to be honest. But we'll have to see. So Scarcity not deviating too much, just the 𝗂𝗵𝗃 man to prevent 𝗧𝗵𝗃 from being blacklisted from this match. But the 𝗬𝗃 potentially forced here by 𝗵𝗵𝗃, and it is the exact same team, except this time there is no Valorant.
Yeah, and of course, I believe the 𝗬𝗃 might have been getting the ban earlier on, and 𝗬𝗃's so effective into a lot of Temtems. That 𝗵𝗍, the mix has Sandstorm if it's online, but no, foregoing the 𝗬𝗃 wants to get the Sinner type or Nature Digital Chromium online. Maybe trying to get some good damage onto 𝗬𝗶𝗃, or I guess some neutral pressure, or no, effective pressure on the mix. Let's see, we haven't really seen too much of this Nature Digital Chromium shine. Is it going to be represented here in game number 3 of our semifinals? One tamer moving forward. Is it Funky? Is it Scarsing? Let's go ahead and jump into this matchup. You guys made your votes, and these guys are going to give us the answers. So starting things off exactly the same way as game number 2. If it goes the same way as we said earlier, 𝗧𝗵𝗃 becomes 𝗬𝗎. 𝗵𝗃, I believe, gunned down 𝗬𝗂. And then it was a mix that came in to eat up the beta burst. So let's see. I don't know if there's any other options. You know, another option, maybe 𝗵𝗃 beta burst into Toucan. Making the Toucan go down a little bit earlier does not feel too bad.
Yeah, I think killing the Toucan early is the plan, but no, decides against it. We'll be keeping the 𝗧𝗵𝗃 in this time, so a 1-for-1. Look at that beta burst damage! 45% into the Toucan. That nearly guarantees a kill, and the 𝗧𝗵𝗃 barely lives the double edge, and 𝗧𝗵𝗃 lives to fight another day.
Yeah, so close. If the double edge would have killed, that would have almost been a GG right there. But now 𝗧𝗵𝗃 surviving 𝗬𝗏ire online can save it in the back for a rainy day, aka when that 𝗵𝗍 and 𝗬𝗏 are on the board. So most likely 𝗬𝗎 gonna be coming out this turn. But yeah, you know, I believe that was a great play for Funky, recognizing that Toucan did so much for Scarsing's side, and it was significantly hard to take it down. He had to throw 2 noxious bombs. He had to throw, I can't even recall, it was a harmful microwave as well. But now with that beta burst, as you said, 45% out the window already. If it's another one, Toucan looking to go down rather early on.
DJ Khaled will be proud. Scarcity guy is swapped out for the mix, for his side, seeing if he's gonna hold it. Tornado will be thrown out onto the 𝗬𝗎 spot just in case the 𝗧𝗵𝗃 would have stayed in and attempted to 𝗬𝗏ire, but beta burst will follow through. And this Toucan, look at how much damage it this time. History is not gonna repeat itself. The Toucan will not be able to pressure out the 𝗵𝗍, and that is huge. Plus, what else stops the 𝗵𝗍 aside from maybe the Momo?
Yeah, not very much. The Toucan was absolutely necessary. I mean, he wanted to try to trade the kill on Hedgen, expecting 𝗵𝗶𝗴 to stay in, but I don't know. I mean, of course, hindsight is always 2020, but I felt that Hedgen had to go. Hedgen was so valuable for 𝗵𝗶𝗴. I was willing to place my bets on Hedgen swapping out, but you know, sometimes a straightforward play is not always the right play, trying to throw your opponent off. All right, but 𝗧𝗵𝗆 trying to expect the Hedgen to stay in. We'll see. I mean, Toucan, it was almost necessary. Look at that entire back line. That's a Crystal Temtem and 2 Natures. Fire Tornado would have done wonders. And speaking of the Temtem, he needed this bird for 𝗵𝗶𝗴 coming in, and the EM closing it down for the Toucan. This is looking very, very well for 𝗵𝗆's corner.
That's so huge, and the Barchi doesn't even die for it. Crystal Spikes will be coming through onto the 𝗵𝗏, and that's a lot of devastating damage. Barchi is overexerted, so can't help much, but the 𝗵𝗏 on the field now does have potential for play, and oh, 𝗧𝗵𝗆 playing mono e mono. Bear in mind, in the game 1, the only reason he lost the trade was because 𝗬𝗏 was on the field to assist pressuring out his 𝗵𝗏, but now the mix and the 𝗵𝗏 should guarantee a 𝗵𝗏 kill against 𝗵𝗶𝗴, and the Barchi's not in any condition to assist.
Yeah, he did indeed overexert last turn. So hey, double crystal spikes flying out from 𝗧𝗵𝗆's corner. We did see, I'm impressed by the mixed special attack there, over 50% on the 𝗵𝗏. So if the 𝗵𝗏 most likely can't take down the mix in a single crystal spike, mix will reciprocate that damage and take him down with that one blow. And then 𝗵𝗏 over here either goes for a madness buff to go crazy, or he can just keep things straightforward, crystal spike the Barchi. I'm not too opposed to the madness buff here. Yeah, because if 𝗵𝗏 was to stay in, the mix takes it down. So yeah, there's no damage coming into 𝗵𝗏 right now. Is he gonna madness buff? Oh, okay, so no damage at all. Oh, we already said that, no damage at all, but okay, Center Typer Chromion looking cool and getting 1 protector buff onto himself. So we'll see. Nature Techniques going a little bit harder, but the Kinu will catch that crystal spike directed at the Barchi. Not too bad.
Red. I mean, not red, but unfortunately had to sacrifice that position. The Chromion will take a decent chunking, but Hedgen is kind of forced here if he wants to get that Center Typer. And there he is.
Yeah, so that is a 30% additional damage on Hedgen's digital attacks, as well as Swaglord the Chromion's attack, and that's double damage into the mix. Oh man, I mean 𝗵𝗏, if he's able to go first with something like a Crystal Dust, maybe that's a 4 prio technique. Yeah.
It's down to the speed. And I just want a quick reminder, plus, it doesn't matter the technique type, it matters only that they're both the same typing. So you actually get 30% on Hellfire, Fire Tornado, you get everything 30%. So it doesn't really matter what technique it is. It never implicitly implies that you need to have the same technique as the type you are synergized in. So right now, both these Temps are doing 30% more damage, and it's all down to who goes first here. You're feeling lucky, punk. Hellfire does go first!
You're going first, and man, 30% almost enough, but the harmful microwaves, the good 1-2 punch. Jeez, that is going to be doing so much damage and taking down the 𝗵𝗏. Alright, coming back in. Okay, but good 1-for-1 trade, but I believe that favored 𝗵𝗆𝗴 a little bit more, because now the 𝗵𝗏 and Toucan have been taken care of. Barchi is still kicking in the back line for the Mobile and Nindersill, and then 𝗵𝗆𝗴, 𝗵𝗏, and Swaglord's job is just to take care of this mix. They don't have AoE, so it has to take care of the other Temtems first. But I think the Barchi is 100% the difference maker in this matchup. Mental for the Momo, win for the Nindersill. I don't know if there's anything 𝗧𝗵𝗆 can do here at the very end of this match. And it's crazy we say very end, and again, it's turn 5. Blue, this meta is quite fast.
Ah, yeah, it's just how I like it. Very brutally fast. But for the most part, Momo swapped in, and the Barnshee coming in now. Funky, feeling lucky once again, hoping that the speed is in his favor. He does have the speed arrow, so if there is ties, it does go his way regardless. But that is down to Chromium Resin Trap doing enough damage. I believe that is Puppet Master mixed?
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah.
I believe maybe the harmful microwaves directed at Mix, but hey, willpower drain will be a way to try to reduce this Barnshee. Well, let's see. 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗴 Barnshee almost going down.
It barely survives. Resin Trap does deal damage to the Momo. We'll see if the follow through from the Barnshee will execute the Momo. Most likely it will. This is gonna be an all-out OX though, and that is a big pick-off as now Yggdrasil is forced in, and now it's 𝗏𝗏 versus big old three-headed snake.
Yeah, this is getting dicey so close. We saw how tanky this Yggdrasil was, so Funky House 𝗏𝗏 probably has to go for 3 crystal spikes before the Yggdrasil goes down, especially considering it doesn't have 1 madness buff onto it. I mean, little harmful microwaves could do a little bit more as well. But man, I didn't expect the Barnshee to go so low from that crystal spike. But yeah, of course, the Strange Vest, not any special defense on the Barnshee, so taking it all the way to 10. And yeah, willpower drain getting so clutch there. Impressive.
Crystal Spike's only doing 25% damage. That's nowhere near enough. The Toxic Tigs forces the 𝗏𝗏 into a timer, and the harmful microwaves OX this. It's just not enough. Scarecing Guy has it.
Yeah.
The Mix is still alive. Yggdrasil is over 50% HP, and the 𝗏𝗏 just doesn't have it in the arsenal. The Sweatband will do you no help in hell.
That is right. We saw the Mix doing well over 50%. So even if it was a little bit healthier, 𝗏𝗏 does fall. So Scarsing Guy doing the unthinkable, taking down the favored Funky House. Man, oh man, are we gonna have a new champion in the house? His name might very well be Cipanku Guy, Scarsing or Rawrzyyy, depending on how you know him. So impressive stuff. And 𝗏𝗏 does live here, but Mix and Puppet Master range is a final little energy manipulation to close us out for the semifinals.
He madness buffs his way out. He says, I choose my fate. As Funky House takes the loss, and unfortunately, I mean, plus, it all comes down to that 𝗂𝗏𝗃 ban. Once 𝗂𝗂𝗏 was banned, Funky...